I congratulate you very much, my dearest brother, Dr. Tesfa and Professor Fasa, and all of you for this conference that you have organized, which is extremely relevant and timely, and something that we, not only in Ethiopia, but all of Africa, have to continue to do. So I'll just send a few messages. The reason why I'm not able to make it is because I have a problem. My personal assistant, Mrs. Elsa Lawrence, she now is retiring because she's 65 years old. So they insist that I should nominate and select a student assistant until they hire and employ a personal assistant for me. So that came last minute, so I couldn't make it to the conference, despite the fact that I had everything arranged, the tickets and everything. So forgive me for this. Apologies to all of you. But let me just send you a few brief message. I was supposed to join the panel to be chaired by Professor Fasa Makria, and the area that is on information communication technology, and how information and communication technology is now changing the world. We know that the third industrial revolution, it started in the late 20th century. It was mainly information revolution, it was called. Now, in the fourth industrial revolution, we have artificial intelligence and computers, internets, Internet of Things, and cloud computing, many things like that. Blockchain, what don't we have? Very, very interesting things are. So we are now creating in the knowledge economy. The physical economy is changing into a knowledge economy. Machine learning is developing. In fact, machines may be doing what human beings are doing, which is there is almost a challenge to replace human beings in this machine age that we are now living. So we have now big data, Internet of Things, cloud and blockchain, and the confluence and convergence of emerging technologies. They call this now a revolution. It's changing the way we live. A digital revolution is changing the way we live, the way we work, and the way we will relate to one another. Which means that if it's possible, all the problems we used to do when we didn't have the digital time may change now, and maybe they change not so much in the way that continues what we used to do with all the problems, with all the difficulties from every side, from the governance side, from the leadership side, from the institution side, from the system side that we used to run, from even relating with one another side. Maybe with this digital technology, we can design it, engineer it in such a way that we can actually create a more humane, a more morally intelligent, emotionally intelligent, and educational intelligent pattern of development can come. So the challenge is very, very interesting. Even in our own context, we have been running our country with ethnic division and ethnic malice. We may turn into ethnic blessing in the sense that the unity of Ethiopia becomes number one and the priority of priorities. And so we go with Ethiopianism, with Ethiopia. We could do something like that too. So it's a very interesting time. So, digitalization now is moving cities, countries, companies, operations, processes, businesses with different digital models, transforming processes, and so on. So we are now the digital transformation. The outcomes achieved, the organizations are fully leveraged, the changes and opportunities of digital technologies and the impact across society is very, very high. Also, we have digital disruptions, the change that occur when new digital technologies and business models impact a business value proposition and market position. This is also happening. So disruptive technologies are happening on the point of sale, how we buy, taxi, now we have Taxifys, Ubers, hotels are changing, bookstores are changing, print advertising is changing, and many types of our activities in our daily world are changing because of the digital time. So what has happened now is technological advancement is explosive under the control of machines and thus cannot be accurately predicted. So we have also what we call singularity. Technological singularity is also emerging, which is quite important. What's also happening in this way. So we also use digital revolution to solve many problems. For example, we can use it to unite Africa, as I told you, to remove the ethnic curses we have been suffering from. And the digital revolution can also help us, can create a cultural revolution. And as I said, the technological singularity is also occurring, where it helps. What is happening now is artificial intelligence is surpassing human beings as the smartest and most capable life form on Earth and the universe almost. So technological development makes machines that can think, act, communicate so quickly. Each generation of IT moves faster. So we have now what we call explosive technology, which means what we have now is technologies under the control of the machines that can also, what it means is the future is not predictable. So we have what we call technological singularity appearing from us. So machine learning revolution is happening, from simple neural network to deep neural network is also emerging. Then we also have what we call the blockchain powerhouse of the future. The blockchain will help to store the identity and details and verification of anyone, and the ownership records that are stored in paper ledgers can be used in blockchains, and blockchain wallets, Coinbase, digital assets, smart contracts, designs, and protocols that facilitate, verify, and enforce a digital-centered, contracts, which means this will eventually replace lawyers and banks to handle legal and financial transactions. So we may have lawyers and banks, but we can go for a cashless economy where we do through digital transactions. Do you know some fascinating things that are happening in Kenya? The M-Pesa, for example, is moving, where people who don't know how to read and write can actually access how to get funding from their children or from their relatives. So digital voting, clean up all the mess in the politics we have, which is every politics, as you know, when elections happen, theft also takes place, and the political parties maneuver. But then with the digital technology, we can actually control that. And that would make it more honest. The political development could also be more honest. Blockchain could be used in health. Blockchain can also be in all kinds of things like e-voting, traveling. And I think in many ways you can see that the blockchain can help us very much in all aspects of life. So we have actually our ability to use it and to identify it is something of a challenge. So now we have moved from just the internet. We have moved to what is called the Internet of Things. What it means is data science has emerged. Every day, new devices are capturing data. Where we are, we talk to, how we drive, what we say, what we do, what we teach. All this now is really affected now by data. Even the data chasm exists, but even with all the data chasm, the data evolves very much. Now, there's also smart cities are evolving, natural and renewable energy, smart grids, smart urban, farms, food security, and very interesting things are, in logistics, in infrastructure, in all the things they are also developing, in buildings and housing is also changing. Impact on what you say in almost every e-platform governance are emerging, transparency, even in economy. We are changing even the economic structure with this new technology. So many interesting things are happening. And also data revolution is taking place in this digital age. They call it fair data. FAIR means findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable data is also emerging. So we have impacts on education, e-health, even overall e-economy, and I think e-agriculture. Even the agriculture, you see, we are an agriculture economy in Ethiopia. What it means is if we use the digital time and the data, all these things that I'm discussing, if we apply it, and we can actually transform our peasants into e-peasants, and which would be fascinating. And the whole citizen science could evolve, which is nothing to do with the science we learn through universities and schools, but more life-wise, more spread because of the digital situation that we develop. So I think now also the most interesting thing is the shift to mobile and cloud computing is also growing, and it's advancing, and big data is also emerging very strongly in the world. Now, the interesting thing now I want to reflect on is, given that the world is now in the digital age, the world is machine learning is number one now, is becoming, and that many changes in our lives are changing. What is happening to Africa and what's happening to countries like Ethiopia is an interesting question to ask. How would we deal with this challenge? Is it going to divide us, that we are losers and others are gainers? There's a digital divide. There's also now a nanotechnology divide, or any of these other divisions. Are we going to suffer through division? We wrote a book on digital divide some years back, which was quite interesting, how this division is happening. And what we can see is that Africa is said to be trying now to enter into this digital age, meaning we call it the fourth industrial revolution. All right, that industrial revolution is also affecting Africa because the knowledge economy, we cannot be excluded. Also, the mobile miracle is everywhere. In other words, nearly everyone uses mobile phones and others. So because we have this new approach, new openness, open science is evolving, is there any chance about Africa to not fail again, to make sure that this time artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, the robotics can create tremendous innovation that will make Africa beneficiary and not a loser. How would we do that is the most interesting thing. How would we deal with the policy challenges that are there, and how do we address them? How could we cope with these things? I think these are critical challenges that all of you should discuss and really find out how best we may be able to build the incentives, the infrastructure, the services, the data, the big data, management, all these things, and really building the digital infrastructure, all right, within the African context, on a wide level, where everyone is included, no one is excluded. These kind of challenges are something that we all need to address and do. And my simple suggestion to all of you is, I like you to address this important conference, to link it and contextualize it for Africa, so that this digital time for Africa will not fail it. In fact, it will make Africa free and liberate Africa and integrate Africa, unite Africa, and make Africa renaissant, and also remove all of us from thinking about divisions and differentiations, more to think about how we can use this ICT technology, information communication technology, Internet of Things, big data, all these things, explosive technology, how we can actually use this technology to create genuinely a united human family as Africans. Thank you very much, and congratulations for the conference, and looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.